What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to another Not Your Status Quo, What's Next? Of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. For now, anyway. Because as we'll see, in the end, this has been retitled into what it should have been all along.
What do you mean?
So what's next? Should we start with Sharon Carter? I think there's a lot that happened with her character in this thing. One, she was revealed to be the power broker. But the real meat of this story, I think, or what's next, the hearing in the post-credit scene when she was brought back into the CIA, she said,
Start lining up our buyers. Super soldiers might be off the menu, but we're about to have full access to government secrets, prototype weapons, you name it. Should be something for everyone.
Now the question we have to ask is, who is she talking to here?
Who was that?
As I predicted, Sharon was the power broker. And my question I think that Keith is going to answer in a moment, will she stay bad? Or will she join Wanda as in like kind of going bad from WandaVision and the US agent? Are they going to work together with Val? Or employed by Sharon? Or is Sharon the new big bad? Were you going somewhere with that, Keith?
Dave, I don't think that is Sharon Carter. I think that is a Skrull that is impersonating her and using some of her leverage as a former CIA, former SHIELD agent to kind of get what she needs. And I think who she's talking to is that Skrull that is infiltrating and is going to be a part of the Secret Invasion show from Disney+. Because what do we know about Sharon Carter previously? She was a goody two-shoes like her aunt. She helped take down Hydra, and she risked prison and exile to help Captain America. So I don't see her character changing this much without her being something else, like a Skrull.
Yeah, okay.
And the one other point I want to make, when she said, prototype weapons, do we think some of those weapons are going to be Stark tech? And so this one little post-credit scene could lead into Secret Invasion and could lead into Armor Wars, because if she's selling Stark tech to the highest bidder, I think we're going to see Rhodey and maybe Ironheart have a little problem with that, and I think that's where Iron Wars could come into play.
Hold up, guys. Hate to ruin your scroll party, fellas, but got something to say about that. I don't think that Sharon Carter's actually a Skrull. I think this is a case of outside of the television series, and I'm talking a little bit meta here. I think this is just a case of we've got different writers, different directors, maybe taking this character in a slightly different direction after all of these years. I think she's been slighted, like I said before. I think the idea that she turned out to be the power broker, good job, by the way, Dave, for calling that. I think it was a little too on the nose, and I was hoping that it wouldn't be something so simple. However, since that is the route that they decided to take her in, I think that she is, in fact, still just Sharon Carter, just she now is also the power broker and has all of these connections and has a lot of money and living in a high town of Madripoor. But here's my alternate theory. What if one of her connections is Adrian Toomes from Spider-Man, who also was in the arena of dealing with super-powered weapons? Maybe that is one of her connections. It'd be an awesome way to tie together parts of the larger MCU.
I'll tell you what, let's keep it. The world's changing.
Another what's next, I put it down as a what if because I'm not sure, but does Bucky become the White Wolf, the head of security in Wakanda? It's been hinted at in the series when she said it was best, Ao said, it's best if you don't come back to Wakanda for a while. Does that mean he has a role when he does come back? And are they going to have some sort of, focus on Bucky for that? Is that the way he's going to make his amends? These are questions. It's not actually a prediction.
Dave, I think there's a very good chance that would happen. He's done with his book. He is wrapped up all of his little amends that he needed to make. So maybe the next amends he has to work out is with the Wakandan people. They did give him his arm. They did give him the cat suit for Sam. So he may go there to help work that off. And if he does become the White Wolf, that could be very interesting. Could be in Black Panther 2 and could lead into his own Disney Plus show, doing work for Wakanda.
Plus, that would be the perfect way for him to finally drop the name the Winter Soldier, which is an identity that he's been trying to get rid of through this whole series. So yeah, I totally agree, and I really do hope that that's the direction that they take him in.
Sound reasoning.
So John Walker ended up becoming U.S. agent after all. He's not another Leviathan agent or anything like that. But I think I already asked this a minute ago, but on whose payroll is he going to be? Who is Val working for? Is she putting together the Dark Avengers team that Keith talked about in the last video? And speaking of the Dark Avengers, that leads me to Zemo. Why did Zemo go to the raft instead of a Wakandan prison? That just seems like it's too perfectly set up for him to meet these other beings. Now, is that just an oversight on their part, or did they have a purpose? I guess we're going to have to wait and see how that one plays out.
One thing that I will comment on is the raft has been touted as this ultimate super secret prison. We've already seen it in Captain America Civil War, where we saw some of our heroes locked up into it. And it seems like, we saw that Thunderbolt Ross was in charge of this place. And it has me wondering, because it's already been broken into once before by Captain America, who is already running from the government, what's going to stop somebody else from breaking into it and releasing Zemo?
Maybe no one's going to break him out, Doug. This is the perfect opportunity for Zemo to meet Thunderbolt Ross. And perhaps Thunderbolt Ross, understanding what a great tactician he is and how he knows pretty much everything. He has all his little birds giving him all this information. He would be the perfect leader for his Thunderbolt team, whoever that might be. So I think we may see Thunderbolt Ross working with Zemo, and that's how he gets out of the raft. Because if they show another group of someone else getting broken out of the raft, it's going to be hard for anyone to take it seriously when they get sent there.
Keith, that's a good point, that Zemo is a master tactician. He's shown it in his 2 appearances in the MCU. And if you see the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, when the remaining super soldiers are killed, the guy who presses the button is Zemo's butler from earlier when they got on the plane. If you remember that scene in, I think it was episode 3 or 2 or 3. That's Zemo's butler. He ends up killing him. So there's no way that Zemo didn't pull that trigger. So he is a mastermind.
My boy's wicked smart.
We talked about Zemo and Thunderbolt Ross possibly putting together the Thunderbolts team. We also talked about Val putting together a Dark Avengers team, possibly with U.S. Agent as one of the first recruits. Well, who else would she want to recruit? If she's going to get a team to go against the Avengers, she may need someone with Pym particles, the ability to shrink down or maybe grow giant like Goliath. And maybe we are going to find out coming up that she was the benefactor from Ant-Man and the Wasp the whole time, and she has been trying to get her hands on Pym particles for a very long time.
That's an excellent theory, Keith, and I would absolutely love to see this series being the thing that's able to wrap all of these other characters and sort of bring about and branch off into other parts of the MCU. So that'd be great. I would love to see it now tie into the overall Ant-Man storyline as well. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
What I want to talk about now is really where we're at after this series. Basically, this is going to be a what's next for these characters and how I feel it kind of fits within the larger MCU. So if you think about where we started with this series, in a way, it started with the end of Endgame. We had Steve Rogers, probably a Skrull, giving the shield to Sam. And then in the end, Sam, spoilers, becomes the next Captain America, donning the shield, wearing his new uniform. In a sense, fans of the MCU could actually go without watching this series and still be able to pick up and watch the movies, because in a way, they kind of go together, where if you watch Endgame, you've got Sam receiving the shield, and then in his next movie appearance, Sam will be Captain America. Now, I don't recommend that because I do like this series and I think it's great. But for those that don't have Disney Plus and don't watch the MCU series, this still works. This still works as kind of a standalone thing where it's not required to watch in order to enjoy the films. Now, where do I think these characters are going to go? Obviously, we now know that Sam is Captain America, and I think that's great. And we also spoke about what's going on with the Winter Soldier, with Bucky. And Dave had a great idea of where his character may go. But now, what is going to happen with Sam going forward in the new Captain America movie, which was announced is going to be coming out, Captain America 4? Is he going to now take on the role of Steve? Is he going to be the leader of the new Avengers?
That is an excellent question, Doug. I think black or white, Sam or Steve, both Caps try to reason with their foes first. Then if that doesn't work out, then they go into battle. So that's a very similar mindset between Steve and Sam. And that makes for a great leader. So he could take the lead, and I would completely expect and respect that. I mean, this is why Steve chose Sam. He even tells him, like in the first Avenger, when Erskine says, "You are a good man." Well, Steve says the same thing when he gives him the sword in Endgame. He says, "You're a good man, Sam." So I think he chose him because he's so similar, and I think he'd do a great job leading the group. Because a reluctant Captain America is the best Captain America. We saw with John Walker, he felt he deserved the power that came with the shield.
Do you know who I am?
Sam felt unworthy and accepted the mantle reluctantly, whereas John Walker just said, "Hey, I'm Captain America. Do you know who I am?" And he wasn't very, he was in your face with it. So I think Sam makes a better Captain America in that way. That's what's next for Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That's what we think. If you have any ideas, we'd love to hear them. So leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.